Y'all love him, chat. Please welcome Edmund McMillen, the creator of Binding of Isaac.
They don't all love me.
But they know you. Edmund, welcome to the show. Thanks for being here. Pleasure to have you on. How have you been lately, first of all?
Busy. Mm-hmm. I had another kid recently, so that multiplied the busy. Been feeling full of creative juices and releasing said creative juices into the ether.
Edmund, the first thing I wanted to start off here with is before you started animating for games and kind of getting into the gaming space, what were your big interests?
Before I did games, I did comics. I did zines, I guess you'd say. And I wasn't I was into a select few comics. I was really into Lobo. I was really into the Max. And I was really into Arcrom and underground weirdo comics for weirdos. Stuff that I shouldn't be into as a kid. That's what I was into. And I was mostly into horror movies, like weird movies, like trauma movies and Evil Dead, A Dead Alive, and that sort of stuff. I was quite deep into that. Video games were always around, but I felt like I was as into video games as any other kid my age, any other friend that I had. Most of my friends were more into video games than I was. And I never saw it as an option for a career or anything like that. I kind of fell into it, but primarily it was, writing comics.
A lot of your earlier stuff had a very specific tone that wasn't really cultivated at the time. I felt like from like Dead Baby Dress Up. What was your idea going into game development in terms of the design, and kind of what are some of the things you wanted to achieve when you first set out?
Well, I don't think I knew what I wanted to achieve outside of experimentation and simply putting a piece of me out there. I mean, that's what I was doing with my comics and web work and, my Flash animations and stuff like that. I was just trying to say something. I don't know what I was saying. I'm still not completely conscious of everything that I'm saying when I'm working. It's just, I just kind of let stuff come out and let it stick. And that's basically it. Sometimes I'll just have a bunch of ideas that seem like they feel meaningful to me or interesting to me, and I'll just connect them all together and make sense of them. It's a fun, cathartic experience for me, and it always has been. One of the reasons why I create anything is usually to figure something out about myself that I can't logically put together in my mind. Back in the day, even like the Dead Baby Dress Up stuff, it's like, I think I was a very frustrated and angry kid, and I felt like life was meaningless, and growing up the way I did and everything else like that, I was quite angsty and angry. And I think it kind of showed. And as time passed, I think things changed. And as I learned and grew, I experimented with different stories and themes. And I just try to stay honest and true to what I do and not compromise. Just kind of put it all out there and see what happens. And at the very least, I hope, my voice is clear, and that if it's weird to people, then that's cool too. But there's always some substance to usually what I'm trying to do.
You talk about creating this art very cathartic for you in a lot of ways. Is there any specific part of the process? Is it kind of the beginning drawings, or is it somewhere throughout that you specifically really, really love whenever it comes around?
Like if you count all my Flash games, I've made like 40 something games over my career, like 20 years. And over that amount of time, I think I learned really quickly that it's important to approach the design process in the same way you would approach a game, or how a game kind of unfolds to a person. Like I don't over design. I throw little pieces out there that make sense, connect them. I make sure that the actual game design is cohesive, makes sense, and is fun. And then I expand upon general core foundational ideas, and I keep building upon those things until I have this fleshed out experience. I design it in a way where I don't get bored. It's important to not get bored when you're working on a project for 4 years. So I try to design it in an open-ended environment, almost like somebody who's improving, right? Comedy or whatever else. I leave enough holes there and I don't overthink it. So it surprises me and inspires me to fill in those holes as I go. Not like, hey, because the thing that it would be most fun for me to do is just design, theme or design core design, and then I can have it all done. But if I do that, then I'm sitting here reading my notes and following my directions, and usually I'm wrong the first time. And you can't have that organic experience where you're like going through that threw me when I started to hear Moz spewing things at me. But yeah, it's I think it's important for me not to relish in the things I enjoy the most out of game design, because then I eat my dessert first, and then I'm not hungry, and I don't want to continue to work on it.
Having this IP, the one we're seeing right now, for 10 years, for so long, coming from like a Flash game in 2011, when would you think was the biggest transition for this game? Would you associate it with going from Flash to console, or would you associate it from your latest expansion and kind of rework?
When the Flash game came out, it wasn't a huge hit, and the reviews weren't great. A lot of people didn't get it. There wasn't much like it. This was at a point in time where like the original prototype for Spelunky, like the game maker version of Spelunky, was an obscure game. And what other games, like in roguelikes in general, like old school roguelikes, were not at all, they were very niche. So nothing was really like it. And people didn't know how to judge it. And people didn't, just the idea of replaying a game like this, almost like an arcade game, was so unfamiliar to people, and it kind of rubbed people the wrong way, I think. By the time we had done an expansion for it, it started to explode, and it started to really explode with people streaming it. I think streaming it and showing streamers showing how the game can be played and how streamable it was, since every single game you were going to play was going to be so different, was a big turning point. And I could say right after the first expansion, Wrath of the Lamb, was a big one. And then when it came to console, that was huge. I mean, it sold like crazy, and it was on all consoles. Like Nicholas released it on every console, including handhelds at the time. So it went from this obscure weirdo game that had a good amount of success on Steam to a more well-oiled, tuned version of the same game. And I would say that the recent expansion kind of breathed new life into it, which was really cool to be able to work with Vin, who is a ultra super mega fan of the game and knows the game inside out better than almost anybody that has ever worked on it. And being able to work with him, expanding it and adding his ideas into it, was just cool, because I mean, his ideas were also the ideas of the mod community and of the fans. So it became this big kind of fanfare thing. And that was something I had to kind of let go of as well. There was a point in time where I think after the first expansion for console and everything else, I started to realize that this wasn't my game anymore. It was very much almost this legend. And I wanted to listen to the fans, and I wanted to see what they wanted, but not in a way where I'm giving them exactly what they ask for, but roughly what they want. Because you can never appeal to every single person. But I think for the most part, if you get them to believe in what you're doing and show them like, okay, I know this game, and you trust me with it, so let's try this.
I kind of want to get a sense of the time period here between Afterbirth Plus and Repentance, when you kind of started seeing a lot of mods come up. You started seeing a lot of people rework the game and work their preferences into it and change it up for different versions. What did you really make of that at that time? And going into Repentance, what was your main goal? In addition to the fan service you were talking about and giving people some of what they wanted, but maintaining your soul in the game as well.
Afterbirth Plus, it was just going to be a mod with no extra content, like not a mod, but mod tools. Sorry,
right.
And because I was at the point where it's like, okay, it's been 6.5, 7 years, and I'm like, okay, let's be done with this, and but I don't want to be done. I want people to build off of it because it's theirs, and let's just support mod stuff and put it up on Steam. But then of course, like I always do, it got away from me, and I'm like, well, if we're gonna do this, let's add this boss, and then let's add this character, and let's do this and this. That was actually a difficult time for me. I was spread very thin, and I wasn't feeling too good about being in the industry in general. and I kind of just handed off my designs to the team, and I wasn't really overseeing it. So it had a rough launch, which I later corrected with a bunch of little DLCs and mini DLCs and a new character. And I call them booster packs. But around that time of release, it was also announced that there was so many huge mods that were coming out around that time. But there was one mod that stood out called Afterbirth. And the thing that stood out the most to me was that it seemed like something I would do. Like it's hard to explain what works and what doesn't with Isaac. And I sometimes don't bother trying. Like, that's why I just do all the design myself. But there was something about this mod that just seemed like it was following all the logical paths that were kind of set in place. It was doing a lot of things that a lot of the choices were choices I would have made, and I was pretty in awe of those choices. And I wanted to talk to the person who made it and possibly hire them and work with them on the stuff that I had planned for updates. And I did, and that was Vin.
You do have a lot of like awesome IP to capitalize on, but also I'm sure you must get the itch sometimes to just kind of completely like wipe the slate clean and try something else.
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, I could very easily turn Mugenics into some sort of weird Isaac spin-off sequel, but I just don't. I'm trying my best not to. I just want to make. I think that Mugenics. I think Mugenics will be my best game, and I want to do it justice, and I don't want it to just be like an expansion on top of another thing, or just another Legend of Bumbo type situation where I'm, rewriting Isaac. Not to say that it might not take place in a similar world, but definitely not Isaac being the protagonist.
But before you go, some really important, we're obviously going to pick some people to give a monthly subscription to for the unboxing of Isaac, but can you talk a little bit about that idea and that subscription service and kind of what you get,
Sure, yeah.
The shirt, the everything?
We're doing a year-long subscription monthly box, not blind. We will show you the contents of the box every new month. We've spoiled 4 or 5 shirts already. Each box will include a really cool, high-quality T-shirt, which I have right here, and I'm throwing things. So the quality of the shirts. Oh yes, so you can attest that it's really soft.
It's very
good. Like it's not a cheap shirt.
No,
like this is a very, very nice, high quality shirt.
Feels very good on the skin.
Yeah.
It's
my number one choice for shirts that I actually wear. And then I've also got here's the Dogma sticker, which is like staticky, holographic, shiny goodness.
Yeah.
Each box will come with that. For that box will come with that. And then there's going to be 3 Dogma themed 4 Souls cards that are promo cards that are exclusive to each box that will be in there. And then there's a bonus item. This month's bonus item is actually, or it's going to be next month. It's Mother's Day. It's going to be Mom's Ring, which is another promo item that for 4 Souls that we're putting in as well. So that's the first box, the Dogma box.
Would love to have you back sometime.
I'm always here. I would love to come back.
And keep McFoley in your heart for me.
I will. He can't leave.